Hello everyone and welcome back to the Red Door Yoga Mini Sutra series online. I'm Kavita from Red Door Yoga. Today I wanted to talk to you about the purpose of suffering. So we've talked about suffering in the past. Today I wanted to talk to you about this idea that suffering only comes up when we are in the vicinity of our attachments and our aversions. And so they are clear indicators to us that these two things are existent where we are. Now, sometimes this is obvious to us, and sometimes it may take us a little bit by surprise. We might think that we are quite neutral in the face of an experience, but if we are suffering in any way, if there's anxiety, if there's sadness, if there is a feeling of hurt or anger or anything, even low-grade versions of these, it is telling us that we have attachments to the way things quote-unquote should be, or aversions to the way that they are. And it's important to actually go rooting those out a little bit, okay? And that's because they're like weeds. Little attachments and aversions left to their own devices, left, alone because we just think they're a little thing, they grow really good roots and they become troublesome over time. Now, I know that can be a little exhausting, the idea that every time you see an attachment or aversion come up because you see some suffering in you, that you have to go rooting them out. You don't have to do it every single time, okay? But I will tell you that the more often that you weed, okay, the less taxing it is on you. So if you can get used to noticing your suffering when it's subtle, then and actually doing the work at that point in time to sit and observe yourself and go, what am I attached to? What am I averse to? And really coming to terms with that. If you can do that work when things are subtle, it is actually a lot easier and a lot faster than when things are quite, extreme and knocking you about and obvious, okay? And so, I use the idea of weeding, and I'll take that analogy into, the literal sense of my garden. I don't pick up every single weed that I see every single time that I see it, but I do try to remind myself, that I give myself kind of a threshold for the weeds where they're of a certain size or they're of a certain amount, and like, okay, you got to do something there. You got to go and, quickly just pull out a few even, and then do some again the next day and some again the next day. But that's your threshold. That's the point at which you go, okay, no, you can't let them get past this point because they're going to become a problem. And so I want you to try to do that with your levels of suffering. You can have a subtlety threshold where you go, okay, yeah, I see you. It's not a huge deal. I won't, bother with you today. But then there's a point where you go, there's my threshold. I can feel it. I can feel that level. Okay, I can feel that I want to head off towards some sort of a distraction at this point, that I'm not dealing with my life. And that's the threshold going, okay, my suffering's high enough. I can see me engaging in avoidance mechanisms. Time to deal. Okay, so this threshold, by the way, it's going to be set by you, not by me. Okay, I set my threshold, you set your threshold. But, over time, you want to set your threshold relatively, low, meaning you hit it relatively quickly, and that's so that you weed frequently and things don't get out of hand. Your attachments and your aversions don't get out of hand, and your suffering, therefore, lessens in its intensity and its frequency. Okay? I hope that was helpful, everyone, and I look forward to seeing you again online very, very soon. But before I go, remember, if you've got questions or thoughts that anything that you want to pass along to me, please do put it in the comment section because I do read the comments, okay? And it's my pleasure to be here with you and my pleasure to serve you. So we will see you again online very soon. Namaste.